Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How y'all doing? Welcome to the show. And I want you to go ahead and hit that share button because you already know what time it is. WVDM, the best of the 757 Community Talk Show. And I'm your host, the one and only Captain 85. I want you to go ahead and share that link and invite some people over for some conversation today. Just want to make sure everybody having a blessed day, enjoying their day, and having a wonderful Saturday afternoon. Like I said before, I'm your host, the one and only Captain 85. I'll take that picture down and put this one up. How's that for right now? So you know what I look like. I'm always trying to be on the creative side, change things up, change age, change different times. Because I know a lot of people watch this format different times of the day and try to keep it informative and bring information to you that can help you in decision making um, in 2024. Most of all, I'm going to start off today, of course, talking about my app for WBDM Radio, where you can download this app now and have it on your phone 24 hours a day. And as we continue to branch off into other areas um, of the country and other areas in other cities and states, uh, this app is Bond Digital Media. It's been built for Bond Digital Media Radio. So it's a 24-hour day station. And once you download the app, you can listen 24 hours to a variety of music and enjoy from oldies, country, gospel, blues, pop, rock, Latin, African beats, the latest music, and the best of the 757. And this is the reason why I developed this app so that we as a people can support our artists here on the local side. On the local side. So that's one of the reasons I developed this app so that we have more control over what our youth listen to, what our community listen to. And with the frequency of music constantly changing and rotating, we have to be more of a vanguard and taking care of our youth and making them aware of what's going on in our community. We can no longer sit around and tolerate, with gun violence every single day. Music plays a vital role in the attitude of our youth. Let me say that again. Music plays a very, very, very important part in the attitude of our youth. And I've been dedicating the things that I do mostly dealing with young people on that level. Let people be aware. We have to pay attention. We have to stop turning a blind eye and just want to blame the kids, the youth, when we are not focusing in on trying to find out why are kids so violent. At this age in time, we should be more consciousness and aware of all the things that are out to put our youth, our future leaders, into incarceration and in this cemetery. What we are going through and experience is no mistake. Trust me, it is no mistake. We have the ability to create illusions. That's what music does. That's why God created all the elements that we have within us. He give us the power to be able to communicate with him through music. We used to communicate long distances because it's a frequency. What you are seeing today, what you listen to today, man only made the hardware, but God gave us the frequency because he cared. As when he walked through the garden, roamed through the garden, and Adam and Eve was hiding, and God said, Adam, where art thou? We have the ability to change things if we come together and get on one accord. We all over the place. We all over the place. Music is fun. It's for educating you. It's for relaxing you. But with my research and study, I'm not a scientist, but I study everything that I get involved in. I worked when I wasn't able to work. I volunteered to work in the senior citizen place in Virginia Beach. Me and my wife, because unfortunately I didn't have any money coming in, so to get help assistance from the city, you had to do, and that's when I went and got my GED, and I volunteered to work in the senior citizen place. And while I was there, I would observe observation, these seniors at the place. When we was dealing with, just making sure they was comfortable, we talked to them, they engaged with activities. And one of my parts is cleaning up the tables and making sure everything was straight or whatever they needed. But I used to watch them, constantly. And I'm like, some people would drop them off because they was working, and they would come back and pick them up after they got off work, or the bus would pick them up and they would come there for activities, eat lunch, breakfast, and they make sure they was well kept. But I used to sing. I'm always singing, so I'll be singing some gospel songs. So the nurse came to me and said, the senior citizen want to know what I sing for them. And I said, sure, So they would request me to sing a couple of songs if I knew them. So they always enjoyed it. So, they would applaud, and the nurse would say, hey, they love you, they love when you sing, and they want to know when you do it every day or when you're not busy. I said, if I can, I will. And the thing is, what I'm trying to say is this: music is used for healing. Most of the problems that we face is mental because of the music. When we came here, we brought the music to America. We brought them, our ancestors brought the music here to America. We are the originators of music. And the way they try to make you believe that, no, music started in Virginia during slavery, and it spread it all over the United States as they began to move slaves around. That's why they call us the greatest entertainers in the world, because the slave master said, only thing we can do is entertain them and shine their shoes. They put us at a low level state because we weren't allowed to read books. But if we didn't read books, how were we able to communicate? Through music. We didn't have to write stuff down because we weren't allowed to write. But we have that ability. We have created gifts that God has endowed in us, each and every one of us. And our young people have that power. So why do you think in our community, every day, people are dying? Every day, young people are dying because they have gifts. If I want to destroy you, I put drugs and guns in your community. Let it flow so that you don't use the gifts that you got. You thinking the gun is a gift, that you got power. You already got power in you. Each and every one of us are endowed with gifts from God. But our young people are being led astray. All they got to do is learn to love. The most powerful weapon you got that we possess is love, because love controls all things. It controls the way we look at ourselves, how we treat others, how we learn. When we go to school, if we love a subject, we want to keep reading. We want to keep exploring. But what about young people doing today? They feel like there's no hope. When people feel no hope, they feel like they have nothing to live for. So in other words, I'm saying we have lost consciousness of who we are. We are coming a slave to the system. And the system is there in place because there are more Black and brown people on the planet in the United States. And the more we look around and don't come together and understand, we don't have to hate anybody. Why are we hating ourselves? We don't hate the people that put the drugs in our community. We don't hate the person that put the guns in our community. The most powerful thing there is a book. And we'll pick up a gun before we'll pick up a book. We're creative people. We're loving people. But when we look in the mirror now, we hate ourselves. We hate ourselves. Our young people don't understand. They are a gift from God. When a child is born, they are gifts. We have to take care of that gift because God has allowed us to be the caretakers of the planet and the gifts that he give us, the children that come in our lives. We have to be explorers and learn that child from the time it's born until the times they become an adult. We have to educate them, give them the knowledge and the wisdom they need to be what they are born to be. They got gifts. They can pick and choose whatever gift they want. They can be doctors, lawyers, entertainers. But right now, everybody wants to be an entertainer. Everybody wants to sing, rap. Everybody wants to be a gangster. Everybody wants to be a drug dealer. Things that destroy the spirit. Because the spirit is in the body. The body is just a vessel for you to be able to move around on the planet called Mother Earth. We got so many things to learn as our children grow, from a baby to a child to a young person to an adult. But in our community, we don't let them grow up. From the time they're born, they're always babies. When a man is a man, what what do you call him? Baby, can you come here and help me with this? We're constantly locking in his brain, he's a baby. I love you, baby, but I'm a man. You can call me darling. You can call me sweetheart. You can call me my last name or my first name. Or I'll invent another name like Captain85. So you could call me Captain85. Most people don't even call me by my name because I don't usually go by my name because it's, I got two last names. So what happened is when I started becoming a DJ or entertainer, I changed my name because every time I tell somebody, say, what's your name? I say Henderson. They said, no, what's your first name? Every time I talk to somebody, I said Vaughn. Oh, you got two last names. Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know I had two last names. Let me see. My name is Vaughn. I have two last names. So I just got tired of everybody I talk to, every person I meet. I had to go through that ritual. So I just came up with different names. That's why I do use different names now. I used to be called Joe. Then because I had a real big fro, I mean a real big one. Then they used to call me Joe Link because of Mod Squad. So I came from Joe to Joe Link. My uncle, when I was a baby, because he said I was always moving and on when I was a baby. Every time he's come visit or we come visit him, I was always moving, and on the bed or when I began to walk, I was always moving. So he called me Biscuit Dough. Hey, don't get it twisted now. Don't be calling me Biscuit Dough niggas. I'm a little bit too old for that. But the thing is, people give you names, but we go around calling our young people babies. They never grow up. They never grow up. In their mind, they just babies. Listen to what we're doing, how we program each other. So when the baby picks up a gun at 6 years old, he's a baby. When he becomes 18 and picks up a gun, that's my baby. When he's 25, picks up a gun, that's my baby. Why can't he become a man? He has to be able to, after 12 years old, when he becomes 13, see, when you don't read scripture and ask questions, when a child is 12 years old, up and from 1 to 12 until he turns 13, you as a mother, you as a father are responsible for that child. So why is it after he turns 13, he's no longer a baby? That's why the ritual that the Jewish people have give him a bar mitzvah and a woman. They are now responsible. We still got our black kids, babies. Words have power. That's why I'm saying this. The words we use have power. That's why when young people get around other young people, that's why we lose control over them. Because you calling them babies. In the street, they ain't calling them babies. They ain't calling them babies. What they're calling them, yo, bro, yo, man, let's do this. Let's go in the store and steal something. They in gangs. You ain't never heard no gang leader. You don't hear gang leaders calling each other babies. Yo, baby. That's my man. It's always, that's my man. How come he got to get in a gang and he learns to be a man? Why? Because that's my man. Or he becomes, that's my nigga. We don't understand the power of words. You thinking your vocabulary is just speech. The Bible tells you, if you read it, it's the word of God. It's power. You can speak what you want in existence. So you just spoke in existence. That's your baby. From the cradle to the grave, he's your baby. Yes, he's your baby. But when he goes out there in that street, he ain't nobody's baby. The police ain't gonna say, that's somebody's baby right there. That's pointing that gun at me. I ain't gonna shoot him. We gotta wake up, because our babies are going to the cemetery. Our babies are now going to the cemetery. And they ain't grown. So when are we going to do something different? When are we going to come together and say, wait a minute, we've been programmed to send our kids from the cradle to the grave because they're still babies. Call him a man. He's 12 years old, 13. He's a young man. When in my church, Fourth Baptist, I've been in my church 71 years. Even while I was in my mother's womb, I was in church because she went to church on Sundays. And when the ladies in the church, when they spoke to you, you said, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And the ladies of the church, and I remember the pastor, S.L. Scott Jr., his sister would speak to me and my mom, because my mom was in the fire club and other, pastors thing. And she would speak to me and say, hello, young man. You're a good looking young man. I got to introduce you to my daughter. You always in church. You're a good looking young man. I said, thank you. She never called me a baby. Nobody never called us a baby back then. We got more babies around here. We got more men around here, babies, than anything else. And we're losing our babies for real. We're losing our babies for real. They're taking guns to school because they don't know. They scared. We got to do better. So what I do in this situation, the Miss Parker, how you doing? I was waiting on email, but I'm glad she was able to chime in. But the thing is that we have to understand that life is short on this planet. God has already promised each and every child that is born that you can live to be 70 years old. That's guaranteed. That's guaranteed. And if you live beyond 70, he also promised that you can live to be 120 years old. 120 years old. It's in the scripture. It's in the book. Words have power. If you believe it, you can achieve it. My guest today, who's watching, she's a real estate person. And I wanted her to come on, but I didn't get she may not saw the email. And her name is Cathy Parker. She's a real estate diva. And I wanted her to come on today and express her ability as a cancer survivor. Cancer survivor. To accomplish all the things that she has accomplished since she's been able to be cured of cancer. She started a nonprofit. I think it's Rock My Scars. That's when I met her. I was strolling Facebook one time, and I'm like, she sounds interesting. Rock My Scars. And I had invited her over when I was at WODU Studios, and she graced my talk show, The Best of the 757. And it was important for me to say, I haven't talked to her in several years, but throughout the years, we had did different activities together. She put on different events. She even brought her kids that she had worked. She was working with teens. Her daughter also went to Old Dominion. I had an opportunity to meet her mother. She's a very, very nice lady. We did different events together and attended different events and activities. And she's, like I said, as I kept up with her, looking over on Facebook, she became the property diva. That's right. She sells and revamp how old houses and tear them down and make them brand new. If you're looking for real estate, this is the lady. This is the lady. She's on Facebook, the property diva. I'm just letting you know. Hopefully I'll be able to get her on the show one of these days, because it's important for us to be able to, so people know that, let me put that where I'm speaking of her. Let me change the stroll. Okay. Where is that? What is it doing? It's trying to mess my topic up. There you go. Let me show it now. She's a developer. And I wanted her on the show that she has different houses and different properties, but I wanted her to be able to answer those things so that y'all could get a better understanding of what life can offer you by her telling her story. She has a testimony. I haven't seen her. I think the last time I did speak to her father had passed away. But she kept on going. She kept on going. Now, she sells real estate. But I wanted her to tell the story because why? That's her story. And for her to want to share, I wanted her to share that with you because of her experience and all that she's been through, all that she's done. You can do the same thing. She didn't give up. She did not give up. Why did I want her on? So that you can share it with your kids. Our kids need to see people doing things. Hear the real stories of real life situations. Not just listen to rap because the music, this is real life. Of course it's real life. What part you don't understand about the music? Rap music is real life. That's why people when they started it and changed it over it started off as hip hop, and it went to rap, and then it went to gangster rap. I don't know what it is now. Killer rap. Don't you understand the music has power? That's why I created, again, this logo so that you can download it to your phone, computer, any electronics you got, and for your kids, because they're not going to hear no negative music on there, period. It's 24 hours a day. But we'll get back to that later. But to tell you about this young lady, if she can have surgery, I think twice, I don't want to be mistakenly or quote wrong, but she didn't give up. She didn't give up. Yes, I had to put that up there. She's there. And, I don't know if she wants to come on, but if she wants to text me on my phone, her email address, and I can put the link in there, because we haven't been on talking in about 3 years or longer. It's been longer than that. It's been a while, but she's watching. And what I'm saying is this: we have to show our young people that have been through a struggle, has been through the storm, and God has brought them out. And this young lady right here is an entrepreneur. She wants to, she show you how to get properties. She can tell you. She has the knowledge. She has a degree. She graduated from Old Dominion. Her daughter is at Old Dominion. But I'm pretty sure she's graduated. But the thing is this. We have to be more focused on what's going on in our community. And we need people like her. We need people like you, the viewers, that carry this message to people in your neighborhood, the people in your community. This is why I do this with no pay. It's not about the pay. It's about the blessing. To get information to people that might be losing hope, feel like they can't make it, feel like I have nothing to live for. Nothing to live for. We have to understand, if we want to do better, if we want to do something, we have to be able to understand what it is that we need to get done to change the violence in our community. I'm working to do that. That's what I'm doing. I'm not around here, just talking and pointing fingers. I'm an artist. I create comic books and characters so that young people will be able to express themselves through reading, and when I go to the cities, police departments, and you know what they tell me? We don't need that. We got books. You ain't got the book I got. And I'll tell them to their face, which I have. You don't have the book I got because your book didn't come from God. Mine's did. See, the difference is what I do, I am sent to do what I do. So when people don't understand that God give you gifts, I know what my gift is. So how you going to tell me what mine ain't going to do? What mine's, we don't need that. So when we don't need that, that's why the cities are suffering. You going to tell me what what you don't need when it comes from me, but it comes from God. You telling me that God don't know what he's doing. That's why kids are dying every day. Kids are dying every day because you want to do what you want to do to keep our people in the pipeline to prison. You want to keep our young people in the cemetery. People don't know how hard it is when God give you something to do, that people will block you. People will block you. So I don't consider myself, I consider myself by what I do. And I've been doing this ever since I was a child. What I do, I've been doing ever since I was a child. I just didn't start doing it. I just didn't start doing it. Yes, I send you an email if you got it, the link to your email address, Miss Parker. What we do is we take for granted that everybody is trying to help the kids. The city of Virginia Beach just passed a $1.7 million to bring back the DARE program. To bring back the DARE program to the school system. You're bringing back a program that was designed for alcohol and drugs. Let me take this picture down so, I don't want nobody to get it twisted. Bring back the DARE program, and that's not what it was designed for. Because I was back there in those days when the DARE program started. The program was designed for alcohol and drugs. I used to do talk shows back then. And when people truly lose focus on what's going on in their community, we're fighting a losing battle with guns. You done legalize drugs now. So what is the DARE program? Is solely for alcohol and drugs. We have to be able to do things to draw attention to our young people, to make them understand that we love them and we care. Some things we don't need to be involved in. We need to be involved in bringing people of education, of knowledge, that's going to help them want to stop shooting one another. Stop running through the neighborhood with guns. Stop running through the neighborhood and shooting in senior citizens' dwellings. Our kids are dying, and we keep passing the buck. And what happens with that? We are losing a generation of leaders. We're losing a generation of leaders. And how many more have to be lost before we change the scenario? Our scenario, and what I'm trying to do, as I explain to people, this year we have an opportunity to make history. We have an opportunity to make history. Get our young people to vote. Get our young people to put the guns down, pick up the pen, and take them to the polls. That's what we have to do. And my guest just arrived, so I can deviate from there and bring my guest on, the one and only, the hardest working lady in real estate. Good afternoon, Miss.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm happy to see you. I didn't have your email address,
It's
and I'm like,
okay.
okay,
It's okay.
but I'm glad you was able to pop in, you know.
Yeah.
So I was trying to tell the people a little bit about you, but since you're here, can you reiterate where I might have left off as you the real estate diva?
Yeah. So I heard you talking about the breast cancer history, and then I rock my scars.
Right.
So now I haven't talked to you in a while, but now I'm a three-time breast cancer
Oh,
survivor. So
wow.
yeah, that journey has been a lot, but you're right. How I look at life is we're presented with challenges, and sometimes you have to find your inner strength, right? And I think we all have that within us, but sometimes we don't tap into it. And um, I, I always say for me, going through breast cancer is not only for myself, but for people who look like me, right?
Right.
It's not a lot of people who are vocal in our community that goes through cancer in general. So to have someone that looks like you kind of helps you. And so that's how we came up with I Rock My Scars, is because we turned something negative into a positive. Instead
Hmm.
of people feeling like, their outer appearance, is not what everyone else wants it to look like, especially in a reality today where people are having all this surgery to have these BBLs, and nothing's realistic. I think it's important to just, really love who you are, where you at. And so I rock my scars have grown since the last time we met, which is a
Okay.
positive thing. We're now international, which means a lot because it's people around the world who are just like us, who just want to be loved and tell their stories.
Right.
And now we have added on housing as a part of our nonprofit, which to me is huge because when you go through traumatic experiences, being homeless or sometimes unforeseen circumstances,
Mm.
you need a little help, and sometimes when you're always the one who's always doing things yourself or the strongest, it's kind of hard for you to ask for that help, or people may not be able to help you because you are the go-to person.
Right.
Um, and so we have really revamped our Rock My Scars to include housing. And so now we're actually building houses in communities where people may never have been able to afford a home in that community. And we're still doing renovations, but I think that's a huge step to actually build homes in places where you could not imagine living. You only drive by the communities and say, oh, this is nice housing.
Hmm.
Um, we're actually giving people opportunities to gain that. I'm still doing real estate.
Okay.
Still love real estate. Still out there helping people buy and sell. But my passion really now is developing, and because of that, it's like you gain control of your community, and that's important for me.
Okay.
A lot of times I hear people say, well, this ain't happening, and we need basketball courts for our kids, and we need this and we need that. Well, we are the we. We have to take action, and we have to actually say, okay, let me go buy this storefront. And people say, well, I don't have money. Well, if you get 10 people together,
Right.
and y'all put your tax refund together, let's say if you get $2,000,
Right.
man, now you have money for the rent. Now you have a down payment. So a lot of times the obstacles are really not obstacles. It's just
Hmm.
innovative thinking, and that's what we do. So that's a speed
Okay.
speed round of catching you up.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I don't think we talked since 2017.
But we haven't skipped a beat.
Yeah. Oh, no, no. I know you're busy. I mean, and with me, after COVID, I'm just getting over COVID.
Oh
You
man.
know, I was in the hospital for 3 months with COVID, and the doctor had called my wife saying, get the family together. He ain't gonna make it.
Mm.
But a day or two later, he called and said, don't worry. He woke up, and he asked, we asked him if he wants something to eat, and he said, "Bring me some string." We fed him some string beans, and I think he's going to be okay. But even today, I'm still recuperating. I
Yeah.
just had, I had my retina was coming loose in my eye. I was going blind. Had to have surgery with that. Then after that, I have cataract surgery, which I just had a couple of weeks ago, and
Yeah.
now I can see. So God don't make no mistakes. What happened, as you just mentioned, people don't understand is God put you in a situation to go through something to be the testimony to help others.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why you're saying with the project now, you are more of a developer and helping other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually going through, and I know people probably like, she's the happiest cancer survivor. It's not even, with cancer, it is just realizing your purpose,
Right,
and when you realize your purpose, you have passion. And
right,
so, I mean, every day the devil gets me. I mean, he's like, boom, boom, boom. And now I'm at a place where I can recognize it before it comes. Probably 5-10 years ago, I used to respond or react in a different way. So now, adversity is just really just taking a moment out and looking at your options.
right,
Do I respond this way? Do I react this way? And thank God, thank God you made it through, because sometimes if we give up on ourselves, what do we have left?
right,
So a lot of times it's just to get through. And if I can inspire anybody who's listening or anybody who watches it, it's just don't give up. You
right.
know, it's times that, trust me, it's hard. Like, as a woman
That's
in construction or any
mhm,
male dominant field, it's hard and it's stressful. And I'm going to tell you, and sometimes I'm like, whew, I don't want to do this no more. But God always sends like someone, something to say, no, you're doing what's right. And those hurdles, it's just that you just either have to jump over it, crawl under it. You have to find some way to get through, because if we let adversity get us, we're not going to grow. And that's how I look at
yeah,
everything you just said. It's kind of like a moment where you went through it, but you got through it,
right,
so it wasn't permanent. So
right.
yeah.
See,
But
we live on the planet called Mother Earth. Mother Earth
yeah.
goes through changes every day, storms,
Mhm.
hurricanes, tornadoes, but it's still here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we are part of the earth. So we're going to go through
Yeah.
things. But what God, when He breathed into our nostrils and gave us life, He gave us a part of His DNA.
Yeah.
We are not supposed to fail. We're not going
Hmm.
to fail. The enemy put obstacles for you to fail.
Yeah.
The enemy
And I
is
don't even
real.
know who came up with that word, right? Like, who came up with fail?
Right.
Because as a business owner, as an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, it is just growth. Like, there's a lot of things that didn't work out, but
Mhm.
I really felt that was God protecting me from the adversity that I could have faced that was way
Right.
worse off.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's all about your mindset. So if
Thank
people
you.
go in thinking, well, what if I fail at this? Well, what if you just do it? You may
Right.
meet someone, you may network, you may have a blessing in disguise that you would have never had if you just didn't try, you
Right.
know? And so through everything that I personally have went through, that's how I look at things. Like, not everything's going to work out. I mean, you may want to open up, I don't know, a shoe store or something. It may
Mhm.
not work out, but what did you take from it? And sometimes you have to really listen to God's voice. And I think a lot of times we do what we want to do and not what is structured for us. And that's at another level again of peace, where you have to really be in tune to your spirituality and just
Mhm.
follow that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And words have power. Like you said, who came up with that word fail?
Yeah.
The fallen angel. He fell.
Hmm.
He fell from heaven to earth. That's
Yeah.
why people don't understand the connection with words.
Hmm.
So we are considered to other people evil.
Yeah.
We are the fallen. We don't know what we're doing. So
Yeah.
in our mind, anything that we try to do, we're gonna fail at.
Mhm.
Listen to children. Even children are, when they're in school, I'm failing. I don't want to fail. You don't want to fail because if I was in a special education class,
Mhm.
they took me out of the third grade. I'm like, I mean, I'm talking to myself in my mind. I'm like, the teacher said, "Do you know why you in my class?" I said, "No, ma'am." They said you couldn't read.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm 7 years old. I passed the first grade to the second grade. I passed from the second grade to the third grade, and I'm trying to say I can't read. Well, was I born with a book in my hand? I understand that my mom and dad. My mom only had a second grade education. My dad only had a first grade education. They were sharecroppers when they came to Virginia from North Carolina. So my dad was born 1917, I think. So when I come along, as a child, and I didn't have that many, brothers and sisters. They were mostly my age, so I didn't really have people to show me. But I study. That's what I do now. I study everything. I can't. If I see something, I got to read it. I got to research it. So
Yeah.
once my teacher in the special, she had called me to the board and say, work that math problem, she said, okay, do another one. Okay, do another one. So after that, she called me back up to her desk, said, let me ask you something. How did you know how to do that? I said, do what? Do the math problems like that on the board. I said, I just know it. She said, I tell you what. He said, if you listen to do what I tell you to do your homework and do your classwork, I promise you this, I will get you out of this class. You don't need to be in here. I don't know why they put you in here, because
Mhm.
what they put you in here for, you don't. And I keep telling people, I'm very capable of a lot of things. I'm just quiet because
Yeah.
I study. You have to study things in order to get to know. With your situation, 3 times cancer. Everybody else be like, I'm giving up. I'm done. I know that. I've had people in my family die from cancer,
Yeah.
and go through therapy. My sister, she had my oldest sister had cancer. She didn't want to go through it. She said, I'm not taking it. I'm not
Yeah.
taking it. And she wouldn't take it. The doctor
Yeah.
said, I give you 30 days. In 30
Yeah.
days, she died. But you are a example.
Yeah.
This is why I wanted you on the show, because when you as a person can step out there on faith, do what you're doing, and you're
Yeah.
steady going. But you're along the way, your knowledge, your uh, situation is
Mhm.
giving and motivating other people.
Yeah. And that's
Not
important. That is
yeah,
very important. I mean, even for you having the show, I think it's very important for us to have our own documentary, right? It's important for us to tell our own stories, and who better could tell it, like you said, than the person themselves. And I do agree with you. Like, I mean, cancer is nothing easy to go through at
right.
all. You go through a lot of emotions and physical, mental. But how I look at it is, I'm really no different than the next person that sits beside me. It's just a
Mhm.
different face of adversity.
Right.
And that's the mindset that I had going through it, because it's like, well, we all want to feel like we're special. We all want to feel like, well, you're your own level of success. And I
Hmm.
think it's important because when you just said about your parents, it's like we're supposed to be a little bit better off than our parents.
Right.
And it's like, look at you now, so it's kind of like you're setting up your future for kids and for people who follow you. And I mean, it's amazing work that you've done. I was like, oh, he's still going. And consistency is very important. And I
Right.
think if people look at, the blueprints that we were setting out, not that we got everything perfect and not everything right, but we
Hmm.
are doing something right.
Hey.
So, and consistency is the part. And I think
Yeah.
that that's important too. And I heard you when you were talking about, like, with the rappers and things like that.
Uh,
I think at a point of life, and I put that we are our children's heroes. Um, I had a lady to say, like, oh, I miss back in the day when the old people used to have, the cookouts, and, they used to have the music playing, and we used to all, I'm like, well, we're the old people now. I'm like,
Right.
it's a generational gap that's missing, where it's no accountability. Like, it's nothing to say, we have to take ownership now of this. People who are 80 and 90 years old can't be throwing cookouts. I'm not saying they can't, but I'm just
Mhm.
saying we have to step up somewhere in the community to say, now we are the people. And I keep saying, we are the people. That is something that the government has put into place. We are the people. So
Right.
we have to actually step up for our communities and be the people that we, that our grandparents used to be, and
Right.
not just look for, like, who's throwing the cookout. If you're not throwing it, where are the kids going?
Right.
And I think that's important for our community. We have to kind of stop waiting for people to do something and
Hmm.
be the doer, you know,
Right.
do that. Yeah. So
And
that was a good topic.
yeah, I applaud you. And like I said, ever since I met you, you always, when you used to come over to ODU, you bring your students, the
Yeah.
people that was in the young people that was in your organization. And it was always a pleasure to have you there. You brought your mom, everybody was like, okay, y'all working together. That's a team. That's a
That's
team.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
important. And, I look at different cultures, right? So for different cultures, they bring their kids to work, right? And even if they're serving drinks or if they're taking out the trash, they're a part of the business. And I think that's important for us as our culture, is to have our children with us while we work, if possible, or
right.
teaching them.
Yeah.
Because if not, we're missing something.
Yeah.
They're never going to feel comfortable with business and money. That's
No, no
part of
question.
it.
Because my kids work with me in the club. You know,
Hmm.
I had them. As they grew up, they worked there. My son was a manager. Uh, when I had Picasso's, he was a manager. My other son, I mean, they both was in. My brother had real estate. They was work with him in real estate and stuff, developing properties. My youngest son, who's now in the military, a paratrooper, and you know, when he was small, I would let him, when I'm DJing, I mean, just at home at night, and let him talk on the mic, and then now he's in the military. He's a comedian, and stuff of that nature. So all the stuff that kids see you do, they want to be a part of it. But the only thing I didn't want my kids to be a part of is be a DJ. They like, even my daughters, they be like, Dad, I wanted to learn to do what you do, a DJ. I said, I understand. But see, the difference is, being a DJ, I didn't want them to do it. It's a lot of work. You
Yeah.
sacrifice hours. First, you got to work learning the music. You got to work. It ain't just going in the club. And like, some people don't know, some of the DJs that go in the club, they record everything at home,
Hmm.
and they just
Yeah.
hit the button and you just dancing to a
Yeah.
mix. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Everything I do is a spiritual thing. So when I'm playing music, I can switch from rock and roll to blues. I can switch from blues to rap. I can switch from pop music, African beats. So I am more instrumental, or more affecting your spirituality, to make sure that you are being uh, not indoctrinated with the things that's going on today. That's indoctrination. That's why our clubs are closed, because the
Hmm.
music drive people to fight, get an
Yeah.
attitude. Hey, I'm up.
Hmm.
I'm up. When you walk in the club and you looking at a bar, and like I tell people, there's no problem with people coming to a club until they get
Yeah.
10 feet in the club. Then they meet their friends. They call their friends over. Hey, Jack Daniel, Hennessy, double shot of Grey Goose. That's
Hmm.
their friends. That's
Yeah.
their power now. And when they
Yeah.
start drinking, you have to understand, you are controlling hundreds of people, that you're controlling the mood of the club. You have to, all
Yeah.
that's have to come into play. So that's why I said, when people don't understand that the technical stuff of what a person personally go through, what your personal experience with your health, your personal experience with starting out real estate. Now you're a developer, and
Yeah.
you also do you still operate your nonprofit?
I'm now I'm gonna say I'm now just the founder, but I'm still
Oh, okay.
involved.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, and that's another thing that's important too is when you say like sacrifice.
Hmm.
I feel even with counseling, so I put that on pause because I feel like if you can't give your 100% all to something,
Right.
um, it's not going to be as successful. And so when I took a step back, I was like, oh, this is just what I'm supposed to do. I couldn't do everything, on earth that I wanted to do. So I couldn't run the nonprofit and be the developer. And, it was too much. So, um,
Right.
yeah. So, and for whoever's, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to say, hey, I could put the right people in place. And that's a successful business. When you put the right people in place and that you're able
Hmm.
just to watch it grow.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm still a part of it. I still have my little voice in there, but actually my daughter, my niece, are president and vice president, which I'm very proud of them.
Oh.
And just to have the younger generation is important too, because times are different. Here you talk about like the DJ and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, that is a part of our nonprofit. Is like music helps you heal,
Right.
and art helps you heal. And now it's like the drugs are so heavy, and kids, and I can speak as an adult, but just seeing the
Right.
children not knowing how to cope, you know?
Right.
And so they go to people who, if I'm a drug dealer, of course I'm going to help you with your problems, because you're
Yeah.
going to help me with my money.
Hey.
And yeah, and you can't, and sometimes the people are like, well, the parents aren't parents. And that's a tough situation because you really can't blame the parents 100% because, hey, I've worked 3 jobs, I've been a,
Right.
a single parent, and maybe I didn't do everything perfect, but you
Right.
have to sometimes do what you have to do just to make it.
Right.
And that's another thing. You have some parents that are missing, maybe locked up. So it's what can we do as a community to fill the void? And again, we have to take action and step up, because if
Right.
not, we're going to just melt away, and our children are not going to have the right people, and they're not going to have voices. Um,
Hmm.
and we're going to get older. We need somebody to
Hello.
help us. So we
Yeah.
got to get this straight.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Sacrifice is huge. And people, wonder sometimes, like, well, how are you doing all this? You have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. And even if buy a piece of land today,
Uh-huh.
even if it's I don't know, $2,000, people are like, can you find that? Yeah, you can go to auctions and find some land. At
Oh,
least you'll
yeah.
have something to pass down for generations.
Right.
And you may not be able to use it, but maybe your children, so
Yeah.
you have to kind of think forward and maybe not buy those Jordans or buy those Mary J. Blige shoes. It's $1,300. She sold
Hello.
out. you know you may
You
have to
looking good.
sacrifice.
Yeah. Hey, when you go out, you looking good. You looking like money, but your
Hey,
bank account saying you ain't funny. You
yeah,
know. So yeah, I appreciate. That's what I'm saying is with what by having you on here just to go with the things you've been through, the things that you have accomplished. This is for people to set goals for
yeah,
so that they can do the same thing. It ain't
yeah.
it, as the scripture said, it ain't no secret what God can
Mm-mm.
do. What he done for
No.
others, he can do for you.
And what's
But
meant for you, the biggest thing, what I've learned,
uh-huh.
people are so terrified of sharing their knowledge and so terrified to show you how they're being successful.
Right.
And the crazy thing is like what is meant for you, no one can take away. And
Hello.
even if that person do the same thing through your blueprint, it's not going to affect your blessings. So,
Hello.
it may be your next level is sharing what you know so you can grow. And I mean, once you do that, oh man, you know, people could really start to help each other out. And I don't know. I'm like you. I miss the old times where you could go next door and get some sugar if you need it. You
Yeah,
could get some
yeah,
milk if you need it, and people don't look at you strange, you know.
yeah.
So yeah, it's just
I
look,
know.
getting back to the times where we really help and love each other is
Yeah,
very important.
it's we could get back there, but what we run into is the government, the way they do things. The government put blocks in place. Like I said, I'll call people in the city. I'll call the school board. I've called the sheriff department. They'll say, well, we don't really do that. Talk to the sheriff department. We don't really do that. Call the school board. How do you get a number at the school board and it's disconnected when you call it back?
Well,
I
and
mean,
that's
calling,
important.
yeah.
That's
And the problem is,
important what you're saying.
yeah, but people don't know why their kids are going through this and going through that because kids don't trust you. If you don't get their
Mhm.
trust, if you don't take your glasses off and look them straight in the eye and say, give me your word, because on the
Mhm.
street, the slogan is word is bond. If you don't get them to look in your eye and give you their word, they ain't stopping nothing that you ask them.
Yeah.
You
No.
don't, they won't do it. But once you
Mm-mm.
get their attention and they give you their word, you can take gasoline and pour on them and have a match. They ain't gonna do it. If they gave you your word, you well, burn me up. I'm not gonna change because they are
Yeah.
looking, young people are looking for someone that's gonna show them love,
Yeah.
not pacify them. And in response to what I said earlier, I'm still a baby. That's
Mhm.
why we have the problem in our community. Our
Yeah.
kids, I don't care if they're 60 years old, they're still the baby.
Yeah.
How can he be a baby if he's getting locked up? He's walking around with a gun because the police
Yeah.
ain't looking at no baby. He's just a
Yeah.
target and he's been practicing that. And he wants to go home after his 8 or 10 hour shift. We have to
Yeah.
change the narrative of how we speak life into our future generation.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, you know, we ain't gonna have people like you around.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have young ladies being a real boss,
Yeah. And
open
that's
up doors.
important.
Yeah.
That what you're saying is very important, and I'm gonna say why. When you talk about
Mhm.
the school board and you talk about the teachers, um, I mean, well, my daughter's grown, but we
Right.
see parents, you know, send their kids off for 8 hours, like a job, right? And they're
Right.
8 hours in a classroom. Um, and when you have problems, our kids, I'm gonna back up, our kids are labeled, right? So you have a
Right.
problem child in your class. Oh, that's just how Jacob is. He's the problem. You know, you have your
Mhm.
good students who make straight A's, not a problem. Um,
Yeah.
and I think we just have to put people in places again that look like us, that understands the dynamics of our families. And
Right.
so we go to the school board meetings and no one is represented from our towns, our cities, our
Mhm.
localities. Then that's a problem, right? Because they
Right.
don't have an understanding of I'm going to tell you my story. I had a person who actually was on a town council,
Uh-huh.
and it was recorded. She said, I don't understand why it's 10 people living in a house and that shouldn't be warranted. And I said, well, you know, sometimes how I grew up was
Mhm.
you had your cousins, you know, your grandma may be babysitting everybody. And
Right.
you went over, you know, your grandma's house because that's where everybody ate when you got out of school. And you
Right.
had to sleep there, you know, because your
Right.
parents probably was working.
Yeah.
So you know, you can't fault her for not understanding because you didn't come from the background that I did, you
Right.
know? So having someone who has that understanding is very important, especially in a school system where our kids are there majority of the day of their lives, you know?
Mhm.
So again, we have to like hit that take action button and say, we can't just sit back and say, well, why is this not happening? Or like you said, like, oh, why didn't I answer the phone? You know why? Because we've elected the wrong people. We
Hello.
have to get the parents active. We have to get, grandmas, and we got to go back to your voice is very important. You may not feel like you're being heard, but when you
Right.
come in numbers, or when you're just constantly the pest, it's just like having a fly or a net, and you just like give up. When you're that
Right.
person, you may get labeled, and it's okay,
Yeah.
but you stand for something. You're just not
Right.
sitting back and saying, like, oh, well, it's okay. That's just Jacob. No, Jacob needs your voice. Jacob needs someone who
Hello.
stands up for him. Yeah, because maybe his mom is working those 5 jobs and she cannot come to the PTA meeting, or she cannot show up for him. We as a
Right.
community have to show up for these kids, and I'm talking about kids because look, that's our future, right?
Right.
So I mean, that is our future. I can't say it
Yeah.
enough. We have to like stand firm and kind of go back to like our morals, like, stand on what you believe. And like you said, like your word is your bond. That is
Right.
important. Yeah.
So
But
hey, it's hard work out there, and I admire you with what you're doing because you are a role model for the young ladies that are coming up now.
well, thank
To
you.
say, hey, if you can do it, I can do it. If she's been through that, and I ain't no way, had
Yeah.
surgery, cancer surgery 3 times, and I'm around here complaining about my hair falling out.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So we all have different things we go through, but to tell your testimony or to tell your story is to bring light uh, to that person that's sitting there in the dark, because the
Yeah.
mind is in darkness, and when you speak words, you're bringing that person out of that darkness and showing them a glimpse of light. You're showing them that, hey, she went through it. Wait a minute. Let me listen to some more of this. I got to find out what her page is. So if you can tell people what your Facebook page is, or I know you do,
Yeah.
tutorials every now and then, or when you ride along to a
Yeah.
job site, or you know,
Yeah. They could just find me under my name. It's Kathy L. Parker on Facebook.
mm,
On Instagram, I still do the I Rock My Scars page, so they can find me there.
okay,
Definitely, we want people to tap into I Rock My Scars, because it not only will help, our community, but again, if we can show up in numbers to say that we are needed in the community, that helps us too when we apply for our grants. So,
yeah,
I appreciate you always
ain't no
having me
doubt,
on here. Just again, giving a voice. That's all you need, is a chance and an opportunity.
right. And because if see, you don't have to have 1,000 or 1,000,000 people.
No.
The Bible says, as long as you can reach one,
Yeah. Yeah.
just that one that hear your voice or hear your story, that one that
Hmm.
heard you say what you say can
Yeah.
change the world, because they heard your voice and they're
Yeah.
going through things and they may not understand why me, why can't I be rich, why can't I be famous, why can't I make a rap song, you know everybody everybody is not born for certain things, but you are
Yeah.
born for something.
Yeah.
God let you come in this world for something. And
Yeah.
if you live long enough and listen, pay attention, and understand that everybody that's where they are was in the same place that they're sitting today, but they
Yeah.
kept the faith and kept believing, and
Yeah.
they made it through.
And
But
being
I'm going to,
present.
yeah,
Being present is important. That what
yeah,
you're saying is just being present. Like, where are you at right now?
yeah.
It may not be where you think you're supposed to be, but you're right where you're supposed to be. You
Oh
know?
yeah.
Yeah,
At the
you're hitting it today.
right at the right time in the right place. But
Yeah.
I'm going to be editing this so I can get it down to where you came on the first part. I'll just do, repost this because of it's important for everybody, young and old. And like I said, is with the things that you're doing. is motivating and inspiring. When I first ran across you on Facebook, even before I even brought you on the show, I used to follow you, and I'm like, you done this, you done that. I got to see, can she come on the show? And that's when, you came over to ODU, and
Yeah.
we might have disconnect, but to me, you're still a friend of mine,
Oh,
so when
always.
you
Yeah.
know, I, I don't like to pester people when, I know that they're busy, but I was glad that you was able to come on and accept the invitation to come on today. I try to leave doors open so that when, I'm a community person, so I'm going to talk about community stuff, whether people like it or not. I don't ask people to agree with me, but I'm just trying to say, open your eyes and look for yourself. It's not
Yeah.
about me. See, people see when they get it twisted, they think it's about me. It's about me. That's where you're
Yeah.
wrong. It's
Hmm.
about what God will send you to do. That's what you should focus on,
Yeah.
because the enemy is real. He don't care who
Yeah.
he is,
Mm-mm. He
So
has one job, one job.
yeah,
And that's important. I mean, like, again, you're hitting on a lot of notes, because even where you're at, it's kind of like when you say, like, people kind of hate on you for just being you. And I think that's saying a lot about other people, and it's not a reflection of you. It's their way of deflecting who they are, right? So
yeah,
meaning, maybe that's their own hangups, because they don't know how to, you know, be how you are. And I think,
yeah,
people could just ask questions like, hey, well, how can I have my own show? Or, hey, how can I be a DJ? It's just opening up conversations so people can put
yeah,
down their guards, and I think that's important, because, again, your level of success is for you, and not comparing yourself to other people,
right,
and like hearing you talk on the show, I'm just like, compared to when I first met you, this whole, like, the banners going across here and everything.
yeah,
I mean, that's growth. And so people have to recognize that we don't always start at a high level of success. Like, it takes some
yeah,
work and dedication, so maybe if they could just change their narrative, like you said, and just ask for the support or help or direction, that's what we're
yeah,
here for, um
yeah.
yeah, look, I'm excited every day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hey, when you wake up, you got to be excited because some people didn't make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and yeah,
That's the
yeah,
thing.
and that's what
And,
people
and
people don't understand. It's all about you yourself. And
yeah,
I know when I do go live and I'm on there, my saying is, like, you are the best and you're better than the rest, right? And nothing less. And
right.
that means a lot to me, because it's saying, no matter how people think about you, no matter even at this point how you think about yourself, you have to know
Mhm.
that you're always greatness, like, it is nothing else short of good, because it was made by God. And that is the biggest thing.
If they truly understood that, they would know why they're going through what they're going through.
Yeah.
Satan was in heaven. He was the minister of music.
Hmm.
Music, he saw the love of the humans worshiping God. He was jealous. So
Yeah.
he figured out, hey, I'm the minister of music. I should be God. So he tried to take
Yeah.
over, and God kicked him out with 100 legion of angels. And where did they land? Here on earth.
Yeah.
This is Satan's playground. And if you read scripture, it tells you God and Satan sits down and talk and have a conversation. You
Yeah.
thinking that, because that's why you have day and night, you have yin and yang. All this stuff is because, like I asked my professor at Old Dominion when we was talking, and I said, what would happen if God just killed Satan? Why don't he just kill him?
Hmm.
Because the problem is Satan. Why don't God just say, hey, I'm done with you, you done? Why don't he do that? He wouldn't answer. He said, well, we'll talk about that at another time. I said, no, we're going to talk about Lucifer. Well, we're going to talk about it at another time. He has a name, So when we get to the point where it's in scripture, all you got to do is pick up your book. It's in there. You see, when he was talking to Job,
Hmm.
Satan and God sit down. And Joe said, I mean, Satan told God, said, I can make Joe curse you die. God said, let me tell you something. Tell you what I'm going to do. You can do anything to Joe, anything you want. But one thing I'm not going to let you do is kill him. Joe lost all his things, all his land. He was rich. He land, cattle, calf, everything. Family. He got made him sick. His wife came to him and said, look at you. Where's your God now? You done lost everything you got. You're sick. Why don't you just need to curse your God and die? The old gospel song they used to say, Joseph turned and looked at her. He said, you sound foolish. You don't sound like a wife. I'm going to wait right here until my change is made. Come. Because God will allow you to go through things so he can show you that he's still in charge and he'll bring you out. It's the faith. That's why the mustard seed. Faith of a mustard seed is so small, people don't even know. Just having the faith will make everything grow. It's your faith that makes that what you want grow. It's the faith that makes that plan you got, that knowledge you want, that house you want, that property you want to buy. It's the faith that gets you there. And that's why I was glad that you were able to come on today, because it's faith that when you answered, I said, she ain't going to answer. But God said, oh no, she will. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm gonna tell you, when things are aligned, it is so easy. It is so easy, right? I mean, when you find yourself being challenged so much, I would tell people, because like listening to you, like they have to have patience. And we're so in a microwave society right now where we like instant. We want instant gratification. We want things to happen instantly. And a lot of times it puts us in hardship or places we don't supposed to be. So yeah, just having the patience. It goes with the mustard seed, you know. You have to watch the mustard seed grow. And I think a lot of times, like you said, like it's just having the faith and believing. You know, that's huge. You can have the faith, but maybe you don't believe that it can happen to you, or maybe you don't believe that you're worthy enough that it can happen to you. And I think sometimes you just really have to take some time to yourself, because when you go through some things, sometimes you find yourself by yourself and you have to be okay with that, because God really is trying to tap into you and say like, hey, you know, you and I need to do some conversation, have some, you know, some talks, because you know, where you're going is not where you need to be. And even then people look at it like, oh, my family's not here for me, my friends not here for me. Well, you know, God may have pushed them away for a reason, because you need some internal growth. And I think if people start looking at things like that and being okay with being alone sometimes, you'll have that growth, you know, you'll have that peace, and you'll find that you really don't love yourself as much as you thought, you know. And when you start tapping into that, you're gonna, you know, be happier, you know. I mean, I'm not saying you're gonna be happy all the time, but at least when you go through things, you kind of get, like you said, take a step back and say, why am I going through this? You know, that's important. And then not only why, like, what am I going to do about it? And you spoke on something about, it's kind of remind me of like depression, right? When you talk about pills and things like that, you know, depression is real, and people really need to understand, too. Like, I don't know why I'm going this way, but I'm going to go this way when it comes to depression. People need to understand that, for our Black communities, a lot of people don't talk about that either. And that we sincerely have help for that, you know, because I had a young girl the other day that talk about giving up hope. And I guess this is why I'm going this way, because you talk about the mustard seed. But and I'm like, what does that look like for you? You know, I could never tell people what to do, but I can help guide people through what they're going through. And the young girl just said like, hey, I don't really feel like I'm worthy. I don't need to be here anymore. I'm just a waste of airspace. And I'm like, where did you hear all this stuff from? You know, like, where are you hearing Is it still on?
Yeah, you still here? Yeah. Where are you going? That's where you left off at.
Oh, okay, there it goes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just want her to give up her quote. But
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
also wanted her to find her. Okay, there it goes. I wanted her to find her inner peace because after she would leave me, you're still going to have the same feelings because I'm not going to be around, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
getting to know the reasons and where she heard the things from, it was just like, oh my God, disheartening, because it's like family members saying it, like you're worthy, you're not worthy of this. Like, oh, you're just like your mama. Things like that, I think, like you said, change the narrative, being more active, and then realizing that, like, even with depression, like realizing that you're not alone, like it's a normal, I'm not gonna say a normal everyday thing, but we all go through some type of depression. If it's
Yeah.
huge, long term, short term, it could be a moment. But I think we have to start being realistic too, because like you said, the rap music, we have to be realistic, real life.
Right.
We're not out here wearing all gold chains and driving Maybachs. Um, Real life is how we're going to get to the points of being happy. So
Yeah.
I'm telling you, hitting on some good points today. Just warming my heart.
Well, it's because you're here, and I'm able to communicate because we have that connection.
Yeah,
And people, when you have a connection with a person, it you feed off their energy.
yeah,
And that's the thing is about being around certain people. I don't associate with a lot of people. I'm not, I'm a DJ. People like, oh, I know you're doing this, you're doing that. No, that's a facade. That's what you believe. That's not what I do. At the end of
yeah,
the day, when I'm in a club, eh, I've been up ever since 8 o'clock. I don't even get home when I ran a club. I didn't even get into bed until 8 o'clock that morning, and I'm back up at 10 o'clock. And I don't go back to bed until again 6 or 7 in the morning. So I might sleep 2 or 3 hours, and I did that for almost 40 years when I'm in a club. So you don't understand energy. I don't, my when I was working at Luxury Brown, and the owner Barry Davis called me saying, "Hey, 85, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm asleep." He said, "You sleep? It's 10 o'clock in the morning." I said, okay. You started I'm the promoter. I'm doing everything to, in order to get the audience that I want, and like we have secretaries there, they answer the phone, but the phone ring, they don't answer it. So what I do, I don't tell them about my promotion. I promote it and market it, and the phone is ringing off the hook. And because they didn't look at the flyers that I had there by the telephone, they calling him saying, well, all these people are calling and we ain't got no answers to tell them. And then they calling me, waking me up. And like I said, I don't go to bed until I don't go to bed like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And you waking me up. Well, you need to go to bed. You need to go. You can't tell me when to go to bed because
right.
that's not the way spirituality and energy work. I'm an artist. I can't paint. I can't come up with something during the day with all this noise around. This is called white noise. When I get ready to go to sleep, when it's quiet, I might go to sleep and my spirit will say, wake up and go paint this. And I go paint it then. So you got to understand the frequencies that surround us is blocking our frequencies. This is
Yeah,
why we have all this communication. That's why you have instant on TV. That's why you have instant on that. That's why you got a computer in your pocket. It's keeping your spirituality blocked. So our young
yeah,
people mechanisms are being controlled spiritually by the electronics and gadgets that surround them.
yeah,
So when we don't sit down and talk to them and look them in the eye, and if they get to understand you, like I tell people, I can meet your kids, I don't care what age they is, and I can talk to them, and in 5 minutes, I can know everything I need to know what's in your house
yeah,
because they don't know. They don't know. See, they're not used to people listening to them. They're not used to people talking to them. All you gotta do is talk to them. They will
yeah,
show you that I'm not as bad as they made me out to be. And most of all, parents can't wait to go to the PTA. They go to the school board. They should be going to the PTA meetings because the teachers are going to tell you what your child is doing. I went to the PTA meetings when my kids was in school. I may not make every one of them, but when I wasn't working, I was there. And don't let I could tell them when I raised my kids, I said, look, I don't have a lot of money, but I tell you this. If you do your work, you don't have to be an A or B student, but as long as you get your work done, I don't get no calls from your teacher or the principal. I buy you anything I can afford to buy you. And each one I'm on a different console to play, PlayStation, Xbox, or whatever. They had all 4 things. So whatever they wanted to play with each other or they didn't want to play, they had a specific, games. I said, yeah, you had a good grades, I get you a game. Those $70, $80 games, I got to spend $300 because I promised them that what I'll do. And then on the weekend, I would take them to the movies. And I say, you want to bring some of your friends along, they can go too. And I, buy them all refreshments. I keep telling people, it's not how much money you have, it's what you do with it. It's, you're supposed to look good, you're flashy, that's good. That's what you work for. But what about the child that, you're saying, I ain't got it, but you walked out and buy a $300 pocketbook?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So once again, I want to thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
I hope you'll be able to come back again.
Yes, I look forward to it.
Right, all right. To the developer, the diva that knows everything from selling real estate to now developing real estate. And what's your other company that you do?
What, Property Divas? Property Divas. Mm-hmm. And
But
that it's kind of under the whole umbrella. So that's the development and real estate. Yep.
Okay. So I mean, you got your head, you got many hats. So we'll talk about that at another time. But
yeah, I'm not gonna hold you hostage.
Yeah. So I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm pretty sure that people are gonna enjoy watching it. Like I said before, I appreciate you, and hope you have a great day and a blessed day, and stay in touch.
Yes, peace, love, and blessings. Have a great day.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that was the one and only, that the young lady that knows about real estate, property development. She could say she could get you to take $2,000 and buy some property. I'm gonna have to call her. I might be able to come up with a few coins. Hello, holla at your boy. But nevertheless, it's time to run. It's been fun. Thank y'all for chiming in and share this information with people on your platform. Remember to love yourself and put God first. Everything else will fall in place. It doesn't matter what others think about you. It's what you think about you. Until next time, this has been the Best of the 757 Community Talk Show with yours truly, Captain 85. We'll be looking. Hey, and don't forget to download the app. Take a picture of that and go to your app store and download it. Or scan this app right here and download it. All right? All right, all right, all right. Till the next time.